Hello, my wonderful queer viewers, or otherwise, and welcome back to another video in my review and analysis of Our Dreams at Dusk, written by Yuki Kamatani. If this is your first video that you're watching of this series, I would recommend watching my first video on the manga before watching this one, and I will post a link to the video in the description below, because this time, we're focusing on its second volume.
Previously on Volume 1.
We were introduced to our main character Tatsuku, a gay teenager who has been outed by his classmates. He contemplates jumping off a bridge when he sees a strange person named Someone. He comes across a lounge that is frequently visited by queer people, a place that's owned by someone. There's the lesbian couple Daichi and Saiki, a man named Utsumi, an older man named Takio, and a younger girl that we haven't fully met yet. Tatsuku gets to know the occupants of this lounge as he learns more about the community and comes to terms with his own sexual orientation and the fact that he has a crush on a classmate named Tsubaki. Tatsuku has also been given a house that needs to be renovated by someone to decide what this place should become.
So let's dig into Our Dreams at Dusk Volume 2 and see what the next step in Tatsuku's journey will take him.
We begin Chapter 6 with Tatsuku encountering the rude little boy who calls him a homo. After somewhat breaking free from being focused on my own situation, I began to want to know about the lounge and the people who gather there. We then see the young boy in a closet putting on a dress, leggings, contact lenses, some makeup, and a wig. You're in the way.
Yep, surprising no one, the young boy who called Tatsuku a homo is also the young girl who Tatsuku often sees in the lounge.
We are introduced to Misora Tsuji, a 6th grade boy who likes to dress as a girl. Misora explains to Tatsuku that the clothes and makeup in his storage room are from Saiki and Daichi. Tatsuku asks if he dresses like this at home, but Misora says that this place is the only place he dresses like a girl. It'd be a pain for my parents or classmates to find out, and it's not like I do it because I want someone to see. So tell me about one of your secrets, Tatsuku-san. Have you ever had sex with a guy? Rightfully so, Tatsuku freaks out at being asked this. This is my first time meeting someone who's a homo that's about as old as me, so I'm just curious. First of all, don't use the word homo. It's not nice. So you prefer gay? Tatsuku tells Mizola that he has a crush on someone as Mizola tries to ask him a bunch of intrusive questions. Mizola thinking that Tatsuku should just tell this guy his feelings. But Tatsuku says that there's no way he can tell him that. I'll be cheering you on. Mizola-san, I'll support you too. If you have someone you like, you should confess. There isn't anyone I like. I'm not interested in stuff like that. Tatsuku-san, do you think I'm gay? I've never said I was. Then why do you dress like that? You're cross-dressing. It's not like I'm a drag queen. Guys are just so gross. Then why don't you dress as a girl, Tatsuku-san? You're into guys, right? He's right. I don't like him because I'm a girl. Daichi-san is the same way. She wants to marry Saiki-san as a woman. Some people who are attracted to men also want to live as women. But Mizola-san isn't like that?
In early United States of understanding the queer community, there was a lot of preconceived notions regarding gender identity and sexuality, like people thinking that the two things would always be connected instead of two separate entities. Like feminine gay men loved guys because they want to be girls themselves. Or if a transgender woman comes out, people think this means that they just like men, that they can't also like women or only like women. Many people have had so many preconceived notions regarding gender identity and sexuality here in America, but thankfully as the years go on, these preconceived notions have gone away.
Unfortunately, in Japan, people's understanding of these two things are still like 20 years behind. Like Tatsuku here, some people automatically think that if a guy dresses up as a girl, that means that they like men, or that person wants to be a girl. Maybe this is all true for Mizola. Maybe in the future he will end up liking guys, or he will decide that he's actually a girl. But for right now, he doesn't know, and he kind of doesn't care. Not to mention that there are not too many resources for people to find in Japan about queer stuff, especially teenagers. At least compared to what we have nowadays in America. To learn about how they might identify with their sexual orientation or gender identity. Plus, not that many people out in the country for them to look for advice or to help them figure out and come to terms with who they are. Someone then comes in to grab a drink as Mizola seems to want to grab their attention. When someone says that the dress looks good on him, Mizola smiles with glee. Tatsuku-san, I dress like this for myself. I wear these clothes because I want to. Tatsuku says that he thinks that's great. But this seems to upset Mizola. As he changes to get dressed back and go home, we see the goldfish that Mizola takes care of in the lounge in their little glass bowl. We later see Tatsuku at a meeting for the health community as he's suddenly approached by Tsubaki. This freaking Tatsuku out. They chit-chat for a little bit as Tatsuku notices that Tsubaki really likes goldfish. Is this for real? Tsubaki-kun knew who I was? Seriously? You haven't told him how you feel? I want to. As long as it's something I can do. Chapter 7 starts with Mizola leaving his house with some garbage, as he very angrily throws it in the trash bin. Tatsuku heads home after the meeting is over as Tsubaki says goodbye to him. Oh no. I can't do this. I can't. It'll just go to waste. Very nice symbolism of Tatsuku trying to enjoy every bit of happiness he can receive by interacting with and having Tsubaki notice him, even if it's just a little. Tsubaki-kun is probably going to go to the fireworks festival with his girlfriend. Well, he doesn't have a girlfriend, but he must have someone when you just use common sense. Ah, man, it sucks being one of the losers. I bet some of those guys are going to become men under the fireworks too. Tatsuku heads to the lounge as he passes a middle-aged man exiting the place. Inside, Daichi is complaining about the guy, who Utsumi tells Tatsuku is the person who runs the empty house redevelopment project at City Hall, and that Daichi really doesn't like him. Tatsuku tells Mizoda that the outfit he has on today looks good on him. Mizoda beams with happiness and blushes. He then tells Tatsuku that he's going to get changed and asks that he doesn't leave. Once changed, Mizoda asks Tatsuku to go to Tatsuku's house with him to talk about something private. In his room, Mizoda teases Tatsuku some more, Tatsuku not happy about it. If your underwear gets dirty, do you throw it away? Do you wash them by hand? Or do you throw them in the wash? When I woke up today, it was the first time that happened to me. While you were sleeping? That's right. You have a problem with that? Mizoda tells him that he's in a house surrounded by women. He lives with his mom, his grandmother, and his 2 older sisters. His parents are divorced and he doesn't have a brother, so there's no one to talk about this sort of stuff with. Oh, you're surrounded by women, so you... I don't cross-dress because my house is full of women. In that case, are you gay because you have a brother? I'd feel so bad for them if they found out their son was gay. Hey, what's your problem? Pretty soon, my voice is gonna change and I'm gonna start growing a beard. Do you want to be a girl? I don't know. So you don't want to be a girl? I don't know. You don't know? You said you dress like that because you want to. I know what I said, but I don't even understand anything about myself. No one understands anything about me. I'm a pervert, aren't I? Mizoda gets up and leaves, Tatsuku wanting him to stay. He's just gonna say what he wants like that and then ends up leaving again? Even though he's relying on me. He's gonna leave.
If you remember the first volume, it had some symbolism that was connected to Tatsuku and his struggles with accepting his sexuality.
Using the crowbar to break down the walls were symbolic of coming out of the closet in the first volume of Our Dreams at Dusk. Daichi did it aggressively when she was struggling to come out to her parents, and Tatsuku did it slowly, piece by piece, when he was just learning who he was and coming to terms with his feeling for Tsubaki.
This second volume is no different in its symbolism, this time centered around Mizoda. The symbolism found in the second volume of Our Dreams at Dusk is that of fish trapped in a small fishbowl, that the fish live in this very small space with no way of ever getting out. To a human, this would be suffocating. Life would feel intoxicating and hard to live in. And in many ways, this is exactly what Mizoda feels like.
Throughout the first and second volume, we see Mizoda taking care of the fish in a bowl at the lounge. He's the one that feeds them and looks after them, often staring into the bowl without saying a word, just watching the fish swim around. And as we see in this panel, Mizoda is trapped himself, just like the fish, here in this glass full of water, with no way of getting out. What does this mean, though? Well, Mizoda doesn't know who he is. He's a young boy who dresses like a girl. What does that mean? Does he want to be a girl? Just who is he? Mizoda doesn't know this, and it makes him feel trapped, just like the fish in their little bowl. In his life, Mizoda feels trapped. He's suffocating. And even though he's trying his best, it's hard for him to get through life. He feels weird, different, and, using his own words, a pervert. Not to mention the fact that Mizoda is in 6th grade, about 11 or 12 years old. And he's gonna get to that age where the most horrible thing happens. Male puberty. Trust me, it's the worst. He's going to start growing taller, his voice is gonna get deeper, and he's gonna start growing hair on his face. And that scares him. This dilemma being very similar to the character of Aoi in the anime Maid-sama. Mizoda's body is going to start changing soon, and when that happens, will he still look cute as a girl? Will he be able to go to the lounge, put on a wig, make up a dress, and feel the same joy cross-dressing as he does now? Again, he doesn't know, and again, that scares him.
This dilemma is something that I can definitely relate to. Going through male puberty when I was a teenager was the absolute worst. Thankfully, though, now I have gone through female puberty, which is a hell of a lot better.
Anyway, as the chapter ends, we see Tatsuku taking Mizota's hand. Chapter 8 starts with Mizota leaving anyway, as we head back to the lounge. Tatsuku tells Mizota that there's someone online in the 7th grade who likes to wear the same kind of outfits as Mizota. She wants to live as a girl and she likes guys. But it's not like you want to be a girl, so I guess you're not like her, Mizota-san. It's kind of hard to figure out how to classify you. I don't think you should get so hung up about how to classify him. For now, he should figure out how he wants to live his life and how he feels about others. Even if there are similar types of people out there, I don't think there are people who have 100% the same orientation. But, well, if he settles on a name and goes from there, it'd also be nice for him to meet new friends, as long as that could give him reassurance. That's how I met Saiki. As things stand, I guess Mizota-san would end up being trans. Mizota denies this and asks Tatsuku when he realized he was into guys. I think it was around 4th grade. One of my classmates was really popular and I got turned on seeing him in a swimsuit. And so, he made my heart race, and I liked him because he looked so cool. Mizota finds this story boring, however, comparing it to something in a shoujo manga. Granted, it started with Tsubaki-kun because I thought he was cool too. There wasn't anything else. When I look at him, I think he looks so cool, and my head starts to feel foggy. And then I want to learn more about him, and touch him. Mizota says that he needs a better reason than something simple like that, like getting traumatized after a girl dumped him or being saved by some amazing guy. Tatsuku gets upset and asks loudly if he's not allowed to like guys without some dreamy reason. Right as the middle-aged man from the last chapter walks into the lounge. The man recognizes Tatsuku's gym uniform, saying that he has a son at the same high school. He asks if Tatsuku is a member of the lounge, but Daichi quickly says that Tatsuku is just helping them out from time to time. So then, those kinds of people aren't the only ones who come here? What was the term? That homosexual LGBT thing? It's not like that. It's just that when we opened up, a lot of my friends were in that group. Takiyo tells Tatsuku that the man had tried flirting with Daichi when she just suddenly came out to him. Well, at any rate, it's all good as long as you get along with the rest of the neighborhood. If this place becomes something like a meeting place, there will be people who start queer rumors. Gay people aren't zombies that walk around 24 hours a day thinking about love and dirty stuff.
And this is why I adore Daichi.
The man apologizes as he heads out, Daichi throwing a fit as soon as he leaves. We then see them doing some renovation at a house as Tatsuku later hangs out with them and some new people at a bar. The bartender asks Tatsuku what he's going to do with the house that someone gave to him, but Tatsuku still doesn't know yet. On the way home at night, Tatsuku runs into Mizota, who scares him. As they walk, Mizota tells him that he's a boy. Tatsuku then scares Mizota too as they begin to fight with each other. But they laugh and are generally having a good time together. That is until someone appears and scares them too. They wish them a good evening and walks away. Just who is someone? She's so mysterious. Someone has grown up without being anyone. She isn't living as anyone. She can live like that. I think that's kinda nice. Tatsuku walks Mizota home as he ponders what Mizota said. I understand his admiration for someone. But Mizota-san, someone won't help you out. As I am right now, I feel like that's who I can be. Back when I thought I might be that way, I wish someone like that had been there for me. We see Tsubaki in his house looking at some fish in a tank. The middle-aged man from before comes in and we learn that he is Tsubaki's father. He tells him that there was someone at a gay place wearing Tsubaki's same school uniform, but he can't seem to remember that boy's name. Chapter 9 begins with a summer festival about to start. Daichi and Saiki help Mizota into a yukata, everyone in the lounge saying that Mizota looks great. Daichi wants to take a photo to commemorate this moment, but promises to only save it onto her private computer. But Mizota denies this offer, just feeding the goldfish in their bowl. Tatsuku then asks Mizota to see the fireworks with him, wearing his yukata. Seeing someone in the back room seemingly urging him on, Mizota agrees. And as he steps outside, being somewhere dressed as a girl that isn't just the lounge, even if it's right outside of it, Mizota is surrounded by a brilliant light.
This is the most significant moment for Mizota in the second volume.
Whenever he's dressed up as a girl, it's always been inside the lounge. He hasn't done it anywhere else. This is the first time that Mizoda has been outside while dressed as a girl, where people, not just fellow queer people in the lounge, can see him. It's a terrifying thing to do. Will everyone see Mizoda as a cute girl? Or will someone figure out that he's just a boy dressed as a girl and find him weird and disgusting? It's something that could happen, and there's no way of knowing. But Mizoda is willing to take that chance. He loves cross-dressing and looking cute in a yukata, and he wants to enjoy the festival while dressed in the yukata. Now, thanks to Tatsuku and the silent encouragement of someone, he has gained enough confidence to give it a chance. Experiencing the world while dressed as a girl. Experiencing the world dressed in a way that he enjoys and makes him happy. This moment is also significant because it also plays back into the symbolism of Mizoda being trapped in a bowl like the fish he takes care of. But now, he is broken free of that confined glass place. He's escaped from his glass prison and into the outside world. And all it took was a little courage and help from those who are close to him.
Judging by the expression on Mizoda's face, maybe this is the first time he's actually felt free in this world. Able to express himself the way he wants to and have fun as any kid should.
We see some beautiful artwork as Tatsuku and Mizoda enjoy the festival together, Mizoda winning some fish at a game. Later, Mizoda says that he does want his picture taken, and as he takes one, the fireworks start. Mizoda noting that they passed his sisters a minute ago, but they didn't recognize him. Mizoda tells Tatsuku that he did always want to do something like this. Tatsuku couldn't be happier for him. That is until he sees Tsubaki and some other high schoolers approaching them, thinking that Mizoda is Tatsuku's girlfriend. As the group interacts, Tatsuku bumps into Tsubaki, this paralyzing Tatsuku after Tsubaki and his friends leave. Mizoda takes notice of this, thinking that he should just tell him that he likes him, especially since Tatsuku must want to do all kinds of things with Tsubaki. Is a future like that even possible? It's so unfair that they get to be close to him just by being normal girls. I could tell him I like him again and again. As long as the confession, his reply in our altered relationship, would be limited to this night and dissolve into nothing along with the fireworks. As Mizoda and Tatsuku walk through the crowd, a random man gropes Mizoda's butt. In some great visual storytelling, it takes Mizoda a little bit to realize what just happened, but when he does, he gets really scared and uncomfortable. Tatsuku quickly picks up on what happened, making sure that Mizoda is alright and saying that they should get away from the crowd. So disgusting people like that really do exist. There's no way they'd get caught in a crowd like this after all. You were targeted because you're cute, Mizoda-san.
Ooh, you done fucked up, Tatsuku.
Hearing this, Mizoda freaks out and pushes Tatsuku away, calling him the worst, screaming that he's a homo, a faggot. Tatsuku tries to stop Mizoda from yelling as people start staring at the two of them. Tatsuku even calls Mizoda a little sissy and pushes him away, making Mizoda drop the bag of goldfish, the fish spilling onto the ground. This is when Tsubaki shows up out of nowhere, separating the two and telling them to stop, yelling that the fish are dying and quickly runs away with the fish to find some water. Confused and upset, Mizoda calls Tatsuku a homo again and to die, walking away as the chapter ends.
To the common reader, most might not understand why Mizoda flipped out at Tatsuku the way he did. And quite honestly, it took me a little bit of thinking before I could think of a reason why. And while we don't have and will not get a definitive reason why Mizoda freaked out, I do have a theory.
First of all, a complete stranger, probably an older man, touched Mizoda's butt. He groped him. I don't know about you, but anyone having been groped will probably feel messed up when groped like this. And remember, Mizoda is only in the 6th grade. He's still a little kid, and he was just sexually assaulted. It's probably a really hard thing to process for him, and from the best that he can understand it, it scares the shit out of him. Mizoda grabs onto Tatsuku, terrified. He's even unable to form a sentence to tell Tatsuku what happened. Thankfully though, Tatsuku can figure out what happened and does the right thing by trying to take Mizoda away from the crowd. But then he accidentally says the wrong thing by saying that Mizoda was probably groped because he looks so cute right now.
Getting away from the story right now, this is completely the wrong thing to say in this situation. Mostly because of how real-life people treat situations like this. When a woman is catcalled or touched wrongfully or sexually assaulted or raped, some people won't 100% blame the person who did it. They might say something that implies that it was the victim's fault that it happened. Maybe because of what they were wearing, how they are walking, or the way that they look. And in Tatsuku's case to Mizoda, because of how cute Mizoda looks.
Tatsuku is obviously not doing this on purpose, but he did say the wrong thing. Accidentally, he somewhat blamed Mizoda being cute on him being cute. Accidentally, he somewhat blamed Mizoda being groped on him being cute. Hell, maybe Tatsuku just said that to compliment Mizora to get him to be happy again, despite the situation. Tatsuku tried to say the right thing, but in this case, he really failed. There's also the fact that there's probably a million thoughts and questions going through Mizora's head right now. Is this what being a girl is like? If he wants to be a girl in the future, is this what life will be like? And hell, even if he just decides to continue the cross-dress in the future outside, will he always have to be fearful of being groped? Again, Mizora is only in the 6th grade. He is too young to go through something like this. Hell, nobody should go through something like this. But it happened, and Tatsuku said the wrong thing, so Mizora freaked out at him. It's already established that Mizora has a bit of a temper, so Mizora pushes Tatsuku and screams at him, calling him a homo, calling him a faggot.
Mizora doesn't know how to process the horrible things that he's feeling, so he lashes out at Tatsuku. And Tatsuku, just a young teenager himself, can think of nothing else to do but to be aggressive back. Mizora has been broken by the situation and is grasping for life. Just like the fish that spilled out of its plastic bag.
Chapter 10 picks up right where the last chapter ended as another set of fireworks go off. Explosions happening behind Tatsuku. Back at the lounge, someone watches the fireworks and sees Mizora walking alone. They approach him and tells him that they can tell them anything. But Mizora questions this and eventually walks away. Ever since then, Mizora-san hasn't come to the lounge. I found that out when I suddenly showed up at the lounge 3 days later. At the lounge, Daichi and Utsumi are planning a kid's workshop as Taikiko laments that he doesn't know how to take care of the fish as Mizora always did it. Tatsuku then heads out to see Mizora, but Daichi stops him. I don't think you should go see Mizora-san right now, Tatsu-kun. I don't know what happened, but he came in here the next day and then left right away. He said he was giving everything back because he won't be wearing them anymore. There are times when someone gets hurt no matter what you do. That's why I couldn't easily get involved with him either. In that case, if that's what you think, then say something. What did Mizora-san want in the end? Didn't he want to be a girl? He looked like he was having so much fun going outside dressed in a cute outfit. And now this? Tell me, Taichi-san. What can I do to understand him? What should I have done back then so that he wouldn't have gotten hurt? I have no idea. I don't know anything, Tatsu-kun. Mizora-san has to decide for himself how he wants to live his life. Not you, and of course not me either. When you push someone's back, you need just as much resolve as you do the strength to push them. No one knows the correct time to push someone. But for Mizora-san, now wasn't the right time. I'm also at fault for not being able to tell you that, Tatsu-kun. I'm sorry. Tatsuku's face fills with emotions as the lounge feels silent. At the house that someone gave to him to work on, Tatsuku slumps to the ground. I'll have to hurry up and decide what to use this place for. I've fallen in love with a guy. If you don't understand yourself, you should put some more thought into it. It's a done deal once it's settled. You fucking nasty gay bastard! And in my favorite visual of this volume, the house seems to collapse onto Tatsu-kun, crushing him with the weight of all the hard decisions and choices he's made in the past few weeks. As water is spilled and cicadas cry, summer vacation comes to an end. Hey Dad, about that kid you told me the other day that was at that place with those renovators. Was his name Kaname? Kaname. I'm not sure. Why? Is he someone you know? Yeah. He's a friend. The volume ends as Tsubaki stares at the fish in their tank, as if he's a fish too, trapped in a small place with no way of getting out.
Just like its first volume, the second volume of Our Dreams at Dusk is goddamn fantastic. Just like last time, the artwork is great, the characters are great, and the writing is great. I'm going to be saying that for every single volume, so I won't focus on it each time, only talking about what new things each volume brings to the table.
The second volume of Our Dreams at Dusk took the story that was set up in the first volume and took it into different and unique ways. Tatsuku has grown as a person. Now having come to terms somewhat with his sexuality, he wants to learn more about the people who come to the lounge. And he does, meeting Mizora and getting to know him. Unfortunately, Tatsuku takes this in the wrong direction and tries to do everything he can to help Mizora come to terms with his gender identity, even though Mizora doesn't really want that right now. Tatsuku wishes that there was someone for him when he was struggling with his sexuality, so now he wants to be that person for Mizora. Unfortunately, Tatsuku is still just a teenager and isn't experienced enough for what might happen when he pushes and Mizora pushes back too hard, just like Daichi said. I also enjoyed and related to the dilemma of Mizora's cross-dressing and his fear of growing up, which can be applied to people who cross-dress and even those individuals who are transgender. In the coming years, Mizora's body will change in ways that he doesn't quite understand. And he's afraid that if he grows up to be too masculine, he won't be able to cross-dress as a girl anymore and be cute. He's already had a wet dream and he doesn't like that. The manga deals with Mizota's character and his troubles in a smart way, making it feel so real that anyone who is or has gone through the same experiences as him will 100% relate to them. I also really enjoyed this volume's symbolism involving the fish and those trapped in their own little fishbowl. This pertaining to Mizota, but also to Tsubaki as we see at the end of the volume. Mizota is trapped in his small little world just like the fish that he takes care of, unable to break free. But when he decides to express himself in the outside world, does he finally experience true freedom? Unfortunately though, one incident is enough to tip him over the edge and break, putting him back in that small and confined space, all by himself. And if you've been paying attention throughout the volume, Tsubaki might be the same. We've seen him really liking fish, telling Tatsuku this, and taking care of his own fish at home. He also freaked out when Tatsuku and Mizota's fight caused some fish to spill out onto the ground. Tsubaki stopping everything to trying to get the fish to water. Maybe Tsubaki is also trapped in a small bowl. But why and how? Well, that's something that we don't know yet. If I did have any negatives with this second volume, it would be that the volume spends a bit too much time focusing on just Tatsuku and Mizota, not allowing any of the other occupants of the lounge to really get any page time. The only one really showing up is Daichi, trying to help Tatsuku out with Mizota. This is just a nitpick, however, as it would make sense that the volume, having already introduced all of its key players, would want Tatsuku to focus on and interact with just one of them. A character that, truthfully, didn't get any page time last volume, so it totally makes sense. I just wish that some of the other characters could have had moments of their own here, like someone and my favorite character, Utsumi.
But again, that's just a nitpick. It's really hard to criticize this manga in any small way because it's kind of a flawless piece. Its artwork is beautiful, its characters relatable, and its writing truthful to the real world. 3 things that not all manga creators can accomplish in their works. But Yukai Kamitami managed to do it in Our Dreams at Dusk, making me really excited to look at this 3rd volume in the next video, especially since it focuses on my favorite character, Utsumi. See you then!